Yeah,
like
he's finished. You're right.
He's like
he got what he wanted.
Cool.
Yeah.
She snapped. I'm gonna go back on my fucking farm and relax the fuck out.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
So his journey is
Yeah.
complete. I see what you mean. Yeah.
And it's also kind of like it's such a power move where he's just like,
Yeah.
he's just like, it's like, we hate you, Thanos. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you guys want from me.
You guys want some chili?
Sure.
Hello, people, and welcome to Bracketiers Season 1, where we're trying to figure out what is the greatest movie franchise of all time. This is the first round of the semi-finals. We only got 4 franchises left, and who's going to be up on top? The winners of the first 2 first-round matches are going against each other today, and this is going to be interesting. We got James Bond versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's a weird comparison.
It is a very weird comparison because you have we might as well just jump into it. These are I think these are the 2 franchises with the most movies.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I don't know. My first impression is like a continuing story over like 10 plus years with Marvel, and then not really a continuing story, but just interesting adventures and different things happening over the course of several decades.
But you have the Daniel Craig series of films is all one continuing saga. So it's kind of the same. It's the same kind of concept where each movie is built. It's one continual.
I think
narrative.
that's because I think specifically the reason why they probably changed the direction with that movie was because they realized they needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like Indiana Jones or like the original Bond movies, like no one was going to the theater and wanting to see a continuation story. They're like, oh, a new Bond movie came out?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what adventures he's up to this time.
Yeah.
While then, I think Star Wars was what kind of changed that whole thing of like, oh no, you could have like a series of films.
Yeah.
Right. Is this MCU versus DCU, Daniel Craig universe? Thank you.
But yeah, no.
James Bond joins the Justice League.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your guys' first impressions?
Oh.
We talked a lot about both of these. I think we touched more on James Bond as like a series of films and like the quality of the film.
Yeah.
While with Marvel was like its impact on cinema in terms of like changing what's been going on for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But I guess what's your first impressions of like talk about the highs and lows of these franchises?
I guess highs and lows wise, I think one thing we have to bring up in this discussion is like we're all like young babies, and right now Marvel's hot. This is like the hot thing right now. James Bond is forever. Like this thing has been going on forever.
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe is big now. Will it always be as big as it is right now? Who's to say?
Yeah.
It is like a monopoly right now.
I mean, in terms of the movies, yes, I agree. I can also argue that Marvel has been around longer than
Excellent
Bond.
point. You know what? Excellent point.
In terms of their characters.
Good
That's
point.
why people love these movies, is because the characters have been around and changed so much. But I will say that Marvel is super hot because of current day and age, while like there's a lot more fans now because of the movies than there were with the comics.
Yeah.
Because, people can go, oh, I remember Captain America, but like they haven't been following the series for the past couple of years.
That's a really good point to make. Yeah. So I'll take back what I said.
Recognizable.
Because this is franchise versus franchise. This isn't just film versus
we're not
film.
just gonna go
That's the
Marvel.
focus.
We are talking about the Marvel movie franchise.
Yeah.
So it's just the fact that the characters have been around for 50 years. So. That's the comparison there, but in terms of the movies, these movies are now really hot, while the cinema of James Bond has been decades and decades.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No! To the right! To the right! To the right! You are a funny man, Mr. Bond. Ah! Yeah! Ah! Ah! Yes! 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 Now the whole world's gonna know that you died scratching my balls. Well, I died. I died? Yes. Because no matter what you do, I'm not going to give you the password, which means your clans are going to hunt you down and cut you into little pieces of meat while you're still breathing. Because if you kill me, there'll be nowhere else to hide. But you are so wrong! Because even after I slaughtered you and your little girlfriend, your people would still welcome me with open arms. Because they need what I know. The big picture.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
You know, so we think it like we think about like the cultural impact of the films, and James Bond, you know, it's been a staple in the cinema for the longest time. Like you could always expect a Bond movie to come out, but like when you think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its impact, it's not positive. You know, like you think about like, yes, the movies are huge, all of this stuff, but you could say like this machine is now kind of almost like corrupting the film industry,
Right.
And like the expectations for movies now have been changed, and now like all these and now every studio wants to grab onto a property. You know, you see what's happening with the DC comics and stuff. That's hot ass trash. Like they tried to do something with like monsters. They tried to do that.
Yeah,
right.
So it's all. So it's just kind of like yeah. So it's just like James Bond.
The
It's
Mummy,
like
right?
its own.
Yeah.
It was Tom Cruise's The Mummy, and then they're like, "Here's our gallery of who's going to be like." Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man, and like, and they're going to do all these people, and it was going to be a franchise, and they stopped because Mummy didn't do good.
But the Invisible Man did end up getting made, and now it's doing pretty well.
Now it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
It was originally going to be like different, and they decided just to
Tom
make
Cruise
it like a horror.
was gonna make out with an invisible Johnny Depp.
Isn't Johnny Depp in that movie too? For
I
that?
don't know.
I doubt it.
I just heard of Johnny Depp.
No, it's at the very end of the Mummy one. They're like, yeah, no, we're putting together this team. No,
And there's like a
here's
floating.
all these people who have either been in contact or dealt with like monster things in the world, and then they did a photo of like all the people that were like planned for it, and it just never ended up happening.
And it's kind of like I don't know.
I do agree with you, Peter.
Yeah,
where it's like
it's setting like almost a shit precedent, and it's also
You have
kind
to-
of like also now they're trying to appeal for like a broader market. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of like we'll talk about this in Star Wars later, but it's also like they're like queer characters. They'll erase that and all this stuff. So we're talking about like where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to go in the future. It's probably gonna get it's gonna get cleaner. It's gonna get like I don't think it's like Marvel Cinematic Universe is not gonna push film anywhere.
I see what you mean. It's not going to challenge anything.
It's gonna preserve the status quo and not challenge it. Where you see James Bond, like
I think Marvel has challenged, but now it's this staple of like every expectations.
Yeah.
And now it's not going to evolve. It's just
Yeah.
going to kind of stay in it pigeonholed itself in like we know what works, so we're just going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, James Bond. Like, what were you about to say about that?
I was just like, I think there's like more experimentation in terms of like, let's just make a good movie, you know? Because there's less writing on a James Bond film. Like there isn't like there are licensing deals, like you're gonna see James Bond on a can of Coke or whatever, but there isn't gonna be so there's all this stuff that comes into play with these films, and like for me, like yeah, like I'll go see the movie, but like it's just kind of like in terms of just kind of like what excites me more, like and kind of like what's a better film, like
I will say throughout this season you've once in a while mentioned like video games, and just about like expectations and stuff. There's the Avengers game that's planned, And when the first look at it came out, everyone was disappointed that wasn't the cinematic Avengers.
Oh, I see.
And
Yeah.
like that Tony looked different, and that Thor sounded different, and like that it wasn't Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
But it was like the comics version of it.
Yeah.
But everybody
Right.
was like, oh, why isn't it this? And that's the thing is Marvel can fall back on the comics, and for everything else, like for toys and for like other properties and things, they can fall back on the comics and be like, no, these are the comics versions.
Yeah.
But like for anything that's live action, it's always they set a precedent now.
Yeah.
Everyone was upset about the changes, except for the removal of Robin Hood from the team of Avengers. Because
Hawkeye?
Originally, is that what his name is?
Yeah.
Anyways, so he has arrows.
Robin Hood.
He has arrows and a satchel on his back,
then-
and they can do almost anything. If you need a decaf coffee, there's one
Shabam.
arrow for that. He's really actually very interesting as a character too. He's got a family.
Yeah.
And he's got kids. He actually is really important. He's really important to the team.
Why?
Do you remember when Hawkeye fought Vision in Civil War?
Did he go fuck?
No,
fuck,
it's
fuck?
literally he's trying, and it's just like you can't.
The writers are sitting there like,
can't even-
how do we make
It's just
this?
like
He knows.
Jeremy
knows.
Renner as Hawkeye is the worst thing. Just like
Everyone just decided it. Everyone was like, Jeremy Renner will be in everything now. It's like, why?
Yeah, there's that period of time where he was just like in the Bourne reboot, Bourne like Supremacy reboot.
Everyone
It
just
was like,
decided they liked him.
Ew, and remember,
I don't.
Do you remember that movie Arrival with Amy Adams, where there's
Yes.
at the end of the movie, Jeremy Renner goes to Amy Adams. Let's make a baby.
Okay.
I would never.
But it's just like Jeremy Renner fucking sucks. I hate him.
Okay, we're gonna spring forward from something that Jeff wanted to talk about, which was casting.
Yes.
Like, yes, we have that, but other Marvel casting.
Okay, we're talking about casting for universes. James Bond has had like. There are ups and downs with the
I think
James
the
Bond. Obviously, the casting for James Bond
I think
is
the
a big
casting
thing.
is
Right?
always great. Like, obviously, Bond's always there, but then, like, who they choose to be bad guys and who they choose to be side characters is good. Like, what's his name is Q now is great. Ray Fiennes is M. I mean, Judi Dench is M.
You don't like me, Bond. You don't like my methods. You think I'm an accountant. A bean counter, more interested in my numbers than your instincts.
The thought had occurred to me.
Good. Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. A relic of the Cold War. Whose boyish charms, though wasted on me, obviously appeal to that young woman I sent out to evaluate you.
Point taken.
Not quite 007. If you think for one moment I don't have the balls to send a man out to die, your instincts are dead wrong. I've no compunction about sending you to your death. But I won't do it on a whim, even with your cavalier attitude towards life.
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench.
So
Goddess.
I literally like when I was a kid and I was watching these movies. Like when I saw Judi Dench, I was like, "That's just Judi." Like, you can't make that character without thinking Judi Dench.
Yeah,
that is what Q should be. Is what Judi Dench.
And then
brought
even
to
the
those
bad
movies.
guys, like we'll just take the like. There's a lot of like in terms of the older ones. You have, and I mean like the Moore and like those like before Pierce as Bond. Like a lot of those bad guys are like classical actors that we don't really remember anymore. And
Goldfinger.
if you look back, you could be like, oh, they were this like old 50s and 60s actors and stuff like that. But then like Pierce and up, then it started being like, no, we need like big names to be the villains.
Yeah.
And like you had Sean Bean. For
the dying guy.
Yeah.
In every movie.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's great as a villain.
Yeah.
And then you have in the Craig ones, you got Christoph Waltz.
Yep.
You got
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. You
Benicio del
have
Toro.
Javier Bardem. You got
Was that Quantum Solace?
No, was it Mads Mikkelsen? It's Le Chiffre from Casino Royale.
Yeah,
That was Mads
the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
And
I love it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll see how Rami Malek does.
It looks like it's gonna be good.
I really like
I have high
Rami
hopes.
Malek is a really great
But
performer.
in terms of casting for Marvel, like
I think it's just so.
rivaling now,
How do you even like? It's so perfect.
I think in some cases you can. Like, I feel like Jeremy Renner, obviously Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, that's
that whatever.
I recently rewatched.
Scarlett Johansson as.
I recently rewatched a lot of the movies preparing for this, and Iron Man 2, and you watch Scarlett Johansson, you're like, man, they don't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
Right?
But then as the movies go on, she like sinks
Yeah.
into it, and she becomes her like own independent character. It's like,
Right.
yes. Like, and then in Infinity War and Endgame, it's like her character is flashed.
Agreed. And I'm very
good.
I'm excited for the Black Widow movie. That's gonna come
Standalone?
out.
I'm a
Yeah.
little worried, but we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I mean,
just,
her character already has a finite conclusion, and this is just like one last hurrah.
that's kind of the one issue with the movie is like,
Right.
You know what's gonna
she'll be
happen.
fine. Yeah, because she has to be. I know we all kind of know that about our characters regardless, but
Yeah.
I do think it's late for this movie only because we've been with her for so long. And they just, I know her thing is don't ask me about my past. It's secret. She's mysterious.
Don't.
But I want to know.
Don't ask me.
What? That's what the movie's gonna be. It's gonna
Don't
be.
ask me about my
finishing-
Don't ask me about my past. Don't.
But then even more casting. I mean, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I love Chris Evans as Captain America.
Yeah.
Chris Evans,
Just
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thor, great.
Yeah,
I love
Yeah.
Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Yeah. Justice
Bring
for
the torch back.
Torch
Justice
back.
Gonna
for
Be
Fantastic
interesting
Four.
whoever they cast as the Fantastic Four. That'll be
Yeah.
really, really.
Are they making another one?
They
They're
shouldn't.
they're
Really
planning how to bring in.
Yeah.
Bring the Thor into the
I think
MCU.
they would have to bring in with Spider-Man. Like, it has to be like a New York story. It has to be to them
Yeah.
together.
Or it'll be cosmic, something where like they, it'll be interesting how they do that. Same with the X-Men. But then even like
All the Fantastic Four movies have been so bad. But I guess they're not in the MCU.
No, those were all standalone, their
Yeah.
own things, and now they
Not even the
now
new
that they
one?
actually have control.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting how they do it.
Right.
But then like who's even Tom Holland is Spider-Man. He's a really good Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's a really
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
He's my favorite, I would say.
Yeah.
He's the most, when I think Spider-Man, that is what...
He's the most
like,
well balanced because I think Marty and I talked about this previously where we were talking about like some of the guys are better Peter Parkers than they are Spider-Man, and some of them are better Spider-Man than they are Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's,
Yeah.
that's a good analysis.
Tom Holland is perfect as well.
He does both really well.
Like
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is a really good Peter Parker. I don't really know about him as Spider-Man.
When I was a kid, those first two Spider-Man movies, really loved Tobey
oh,
Maguire.
yeah.
Looking back
Spider-Man
now,
2 slaps.
yeah,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is so good. But the issue with Tobey Maguire is like, he just wasn't a kid. He was kind of like
Yeah.
this
No,
old
they-
adult being
they-
like,
they had-
what?
They had jumped to his college years when Tom Holland in high school years as Peter Parker learning. Like it's so good.
Yes.
So good.
Honestly, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Couldn't have got someone.
Yeah.
Subverted
No.
expectations.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like when they first introduced it was just like interesting, and a lot of people didn't even know Nick Fury as a character. But as he's progressed through the movies, it's been very small hints of like shades of gray and really interesting like. Where is he? Where he sits on all this, but he's always the backbone.
And he has that presence, you know. He comes in, it's like, here comes the big boss of
Right.
like
Yeah.
Shield. You know what I mean? No superpowers, none of that, and yet it's kind of like
He's an
Captain
authority,
America
yeah.
better be troubled.
Yeah.
But then be
even-
careful.
Yeah.
But then you think more about casting, and you got Anthony Hopkins as Odin. You have you
Right.
have
Which they really that I don't know how that didn't work. They really didn't.
you
That
have,
didn't pan out.
You have what's his name playing Hank Pym.
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas as
Yeah.
Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Like they bring in these like top tier people or like royalty in terms of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And bring them in on a superhero movie
Yeah.
which people years ago would have scoffed at.
Yeah, when's
Yeah.
Meryl
Now
gonna
it's
be
like-
in the MCU?
I mean,
Oh my god.
I mean the next.
Well, they have Angelina Jolie
exactly. I was
in
about to say that.
Eternals.
Eternals.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Angelina Jolie.
She hasn't done a movie outside of Maleficent. Like,
It's crazy how
And we're talking when they bring in the big names. Now, this is what I want to give credit to, and
How they
I forget
make
the
stars.
casting director. No, it was make stars
how
exactly,
they make
right?
stars.
Yeah.
Let's just Black Panther. Look at every casting decision there. We maybe have two actors
That-
who like are names, a bunch of people don't know,
Yeah.
and every single person had a standout moment. You know, there's so many
Yeah.
great characters just in that movie alone, and that
Yeah.
was not people who were like super well known.
Yeah.
Another one, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt was not the choice. James Gunn did not
Batista.
want him.
Batista.
You made
Yeah.
Batista into a star, baby.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing casting choice.
Love-
So
yeah.
is Zeldana.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Gamora, and you have
Vin Diesel as Groot giving
Yeah,
you the most
wow.
like subtle performance.
So much clout for
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper as Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Rooker as Yondu.
Ooh.
I was gonna say Bradley Cooper as Rocket is the one thing where I'm like, fine.
I like.
I think Rocky's good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I thought. Yeah.
I mean, that's
again,
where you have to
yeah.
hand it to the animators.
Yeah.
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 Putting that in behind. No, like, yeah, the casting, I love, like, Elizabeth Olsen. I love, who's it that plays Vision? Because he was also Jarvis the entire time.
Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stand out. And then we got Thanos.
Because now, I know what I must do. I will shred this universe down to its last atom. And then, with the stones you've collected for me, create a new one, teeming with life, that knows not what it is lost, but only what it has been given. A grateful universe.
Born out of blood.
They'll never know it. Because you won't be alive to tell them.
Amazing. What a great way to like just that movie too. It's like and you know to bring it back into James Bond a little bit, talking about villains and stuff like that. James Bond for the first half is like villains are villains. There's nothing really empathetic about them, right? Then newer, you know, we have Javier Bardem and Skyfall and great performance. Really well written, like kind of what happens when James Bond is kind of misused or something weird happens to him, right? And he doesn't quite, you know, he goes to the side of evil. But like Thanos in that movie, and like, you know, it's a big movie, and say what you will about it, but
And it's 10 plus years of storytelling.
10 plus years, but we're able. There's the villain who's like the protagonist of this movie. It's an insane thing to try to do on that scale.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's so risky. It's like we're gonna make a guy who wants to destroy half the universe, kill half the people, really empathetic in a kids movie, and it's like what he wants to do is terrible. He does it. It happens, and we follow him, and we're at the end. We're kind of like, you know, this will hopefully be undone, but like we're rooting for this, even though we don't want people to die.
Yeah.
We want the heroes to prevail, but we see where he's coming from. Yeah.
Climate change.
Who would be
Climate change.
Who would be the best actor from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be James Bond? I know that's
Elba.
not the.
Interesting choice.
Idris Elba. He was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh
Thor?
yeah, he's Thor.
Yeah.
The guy who holds a big sword.
I'll make the internet stop.
Misuse of Idris Elba in the movie.
Okay.
It's a cool character.
yeah.
He's great in that.
Yeah, but
He's great.
Who is a mainstay of the Marvel Cinematic
I mean,
Universe that would be the
interesting.
best James
Tony
Bond?
Stark.
Well, I mean, this is the thing about James Bond is that people try to hold on to like the heritage of James Bond and that like it has to be British, it has to be like it has to go through.
Yeah.
all
Are you
that
saying
stuff.
Tom Holland would be the best James?
Yes.
Like, it's
yes.
like-
Tom Holland.
It's like a spicy, hot, young adult version of.
Yeah, no,
James
there
Bond.
was-
Sure, James.
Yeah.
the, like early '90s, there was a cartoon called James Bond Jr. And it's like him in like spy school. Yeah, this is a real thing.
my
James Bond
Lord.
Jr. is real, and I love the show. So yeah, it'd be
Or,
It's just a problematic frat boy.
who played Loki again?
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston.
I mean, he's British, so.
like I don't know. But like the thing is like, even maybe. Because it's just there's that thing that's just like the thing about James Bond. It's really complicated because it's like he is like this really suave, fashionable.
Yeah.
He could like go walk into any room and the room lights
kind of the
up.
Okay, fine.
And then
Vin Diesel.
all-
We get it. Yeah.
And
I
then,
will say, thinking about these two and talking that point, the one thing that I've always kind of had an issue with James Bond is like his character has no flaws. really like Daniel Craig added more to
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Like, but in those movies, but like just in terms of the overall history of it, it's just like he's just against someone who's like trying to really do something bad, and so it's like there's a lot of things coming at him, but as a person,
Because it's just his job.
Yeah, it's just him doing his job.
Yeah, he's like
While like
punches in.
These characters are so well done.
Yeah.
Just in terms of that they have these strengths, these weaknesses, and they're
Yeah.
trying to overcome them and all this stuff. And
And the balancing of so many different characters too. Like James Bond, there's other consistent characters,
You have
but the
side
ones with
characters,
arcs
but-
are mostly just James Bond.
Yeah.
Marvel is balancing 60 at least that need a full character arc over a series of films.
Well, the way that they handled like the Infinity War and Endgame, having all these characters in this film, and also like so smart of like splitting them into teams, giving them different objectives, so you give them like brilliant. Like I thought the way that they, because it's just like fuck, like how do we like we introduce all these characters.
My only issue with how they handled that, and they kind of do handle it in a way because this is the thing, you haven't seen this stuff.
It's okay.
So what do I do? Can I talk? I don't know how to do this without spoiling.
Your salvation is at hand. Isanka! Yeah!
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Listen to these words. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Then bring it down hard. Someday, we put it together.
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro. Me and you. Come on. Subtle. Take it back.
What are you doing?
I'm distracting you, you big turd blossom.
So like they basically addressed Thanos' victory in the first movie, in the first part of Endgame or whatever. These are spoilers, by the way. I don't know. We don't have to say spoilers about this stuff. Like people have seen
assume
these movies.
that we're not.
Well, I mean,
So I mean, what would you expect? Anyways, in the second movie, basically they time travel so that Thanos isn't the character he was in the first movie. So my issue is that this ending battle that they're having with Thanos, it doesn't pay off because Thanos has never heard of these people. Like, that's my one issue with the time traveling mechanic, is Thanos is coming back as a younger person who didn't meet Tony Stark and fight with him on this star where he said, I hope they remember you. So there's no emotional, like he sits there and we have this death thing, but the payoff is lost because he went on a journey and then his journey ends at the second film at the beginning. So at the end of the second movie, Endgame, we're fighting this villain that truly has never met any of us. That's what I didn't like.
Right.
But we have all these emotions and memories of like with the terrible thing that he can do.
Yes.
Because like when Thanos snapped, like in the first part, like that's his arc's done.
Yeah.
Like
he's finished. You're right.
He's like
He got what he wanted.
Cool.
Yeah.
She snapped. I'm gonna go back on my fucking farm and relax the fuck out.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
So his journey is complete. I see what you mean. Yeah.
And it's also kind of like it's such a power move where he's just like, he's
is.
like, we hate you, Thanos. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you guys want from me.
You guys want some chili?
Sure.
I guess in our final thoughts and wrapping up this before we vote, my final point that I will go back on is, it's interesting that James Bond is a franchise and a series that, it can just continue onward because it's basically just spies, espionage, and like the one guy trying to stop evil in the world, and there's characters along the way that help him and do all stuff. While Marvel, we're at a weird point now that we just had this 10-year big chunk of story and characters, and now we're in the next phase of where we're gonna go next.
It could go to shit.
It could.
Yeah.
It could be really bad.
Yeah, because like, what are they working towards now?
Yeah, that's the thing. What's gonna be the next big bad?
Yeah.
And there's thoughts of like when they
Climate
bring
change.
in what?
Yeah.
Just Chris Pratt punching snow.
When they bring in like X-Men and Fantastic Four, and how they're gonna evolve and what's gonna be next. Like might be Galactus or something,
or like,
most likely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have come out and said that like the next phase is just like a building period, and probably phase 5 or 6 is going to be the next big story. But because they need to establish all these other characters.
Yeah.
And like phase 4 is really weird.
Yeah.
WandaVision,
it's
gonna be.
It's the Internals. It's Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings.
Oh yeah.
It's the Strange multiverse, like Doctor Strange and the Madness in the Multiverse. It's like it's now introducing these characters that, like, people don't even know, and so yeah, it could go to shit, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see who's gonna win. All right. So voting. Who's voting for James Bond?
I am. Me.
This is the end.
Just because, you know what? Like, fuck, man. Disney is getting more evil. Get their hands on more pots. I'm not supporting. Like, I'm tired of this capitalist bullshit. You know, like.
Yeah, James Bond is very anti-capitalist.
But like in comparison, like, I don't know, man. Is good.
Yeah,
I enjoy it,
this
but
one is interesting because it's like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But so that means the three of us are voting for Marvel.
But I will say that I'm more excited to see the next James Bond movie than I am for whatever MCU releases in the next little while.
It's interesting. All right. Well, there we go. Marvel moves on to the final.
Da, 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 da.
So let us know in the comments if you would have picked James Bond over Marvel. Hash it out. Let us know your thoughts and how you would have done this bracket yourself. What would you have voted for? We'll see what goes into the next semifinal match, or what's going to go into the finals from the next semifinals match, which is Star Wars versus Harry Potter.
Oh,
Sabers versus wands. Let's go.
Wizards versus Jedi.
Yeah.
The flame wars in the comments.
I know.
So thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you've enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe so you catch all the action, because we're more than halfway through this season of the Bracketiers, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. So we'll see what the stunning conclusion is coming up soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.